Welcome to The Car Guy with your host, Klaus Kindor. Currently, Klaus owns Classic Car Holdings, LLC here in Spokane, a boutique dealer specializing in vintage, collectible, and contemporary automobiles. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Here's Klaus.
Well, welcome to a new show. I'm Kent Adams, an executive producer here at Spokane Talks Media. Good to have you. And I have one of my new friends, Klaus Kindor.
Good morning, Kent. How
did
are
I
you?
say it right?
You did. You got it right on the money.
One of the things that has impressed me is your knowledge, complete knowledge, and I'm on the other side of that, complete lack of knowledge of the car business. And this is a new show. We're going to call it The Car Guy. You are the car guy, right?
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little apprehensive.
Yeah. You and I go have lunch. We talk. You're never nervous. Why?
Yeah.
Just because the camera's pointing at you?
I think so.
Oh,
I
okay.
think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting your bad side. Well, any side? No, I'm kidding.
Any side.
Yeah.
Any side.
One of the things that why I'm here today, because I literally don't know much about cars. Okay, and you know that for sure, is to get the program started, and then soon you will be hosting the program. Yeah, and you're going to be on your own.
That's scary.
Yeah, and you'll have Vinny talking in your ear and the whole bit. Welcome to the world of TV. Let's first talk, before I ask the question about buying cars and so forth, let's talk about why a car show. What is the intent of doing The Car Guy?
You know, I've got 40 years of experience in the car business.
You started at age 6?
Right around there, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That ages me. Actually, I started in 1978 in Newport Beach at a Porsche dealership.
Okay.
Lucky me. It was a good place to work. And I started as a service advisor, and I went into the sales, and I got into sales management. And I think there's an awful lot that our viewers can learn, hopefully, from some of the experience that I have. I hope the show's going to be, number one, informative. I hope it's going to be entertaining as well. I would love for our viewers to write in or email questions that they may have that I might be able to answer.
And that's
for
important
them.
too. And while you're doing the show, because we're on Facebook and Twitter and all that, they can ask questions while you're on too,
Oh, terrific.
which is kind of fun.
Even better.
You know,
Yeah.
Instead of having to deal with it the next week or whatever.
Right.
So
What I hope to do is, the first part of our show here is just help people feel a little bit more comfortable when they walk into a dealership.
Okay.
What can they expect?
Yeah.
What should they be prepared for?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. They walk in rather blind, and even though they have bought more than one or two cars in their lives, the process always seems a wee bit intimidating.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
That's a nice word. I was going to say scary, but sometimes it is.
Yep.
Okay, so as we look forward to doing this, are there things that you can help educate the viewers on that will give them? I mean, many of them today come in knowing kind of what car they want
certainly.
because they're doing the internet search and so forth.
You bet.
But then they have to make that trek down to the dealer and walk on, and they get approached by 1 or 2 or 25.
Or 9.
Yeah. I was going to say 9 would be a low
You're
number.
the meat du jour.
Exactly. And what's the phrase, who's up?
Who's up? Yeah, there's a terminology in the car business. When somebody walks on a lot, they're referred to as an up. Boy, I'm not sure how comfortable I am with that, but that's the terminology that's used. And you'll have a sales manager sitting at his desk going, "Is anybody taking care of that up out there?"
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. It's that far back into the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And there's some other things about getting to test drive and all of that you're going to be covering that I found really kind of interesting. I don't want to give it all away today.
Sure.
When it comes down to it, you're going to have guests on
Yep.
from various areas. This is not a program to go after dealers or salespeople or anything like that. It's really a program to educate everybody so that everybody, including the salesperson and the customer, the client, have a better experience, right?
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anyone. I most certainly don't want to offend any of our good dealers here in Spokane
Right.
or our clients or our viewers.
Right.
But I think that there's information that I've had over the last 40 years that might be helpful to both sides.
Okay, well, let's start off with a pretty simple, straightforward question. That is, What should people know about the car buying business?
Good question. Wow,
Yeah.
there's a lot. There is a lot.
This is only a 20-minute program.
That we won't be able to cover it in 20 minutes.
No.
I think one of the biggest things that people need to realize, Kent, is that most dealers aren't out to take advantage of the customer. They're really not.
No.
They want to help you. They want to get you into a car. That's their job.
Right.
They want to earn some money in the same process. You want to save some money during that process.
Right.
We all get that.
Yes.
Right. So there are good dealers out there that are not trying to take advantage of their client. And we have to also understand in today's world, there is so much information available
Yes.
to the consumer.
Yes.
That it's pretty hard for the dealership to hide anything
Yeah.
any longer in relationship to price or anything else.
Because you can check car X against car Y in terms of performance and mileage and everything else on the internet today.
Sure.
I mean, you really can be prepared. Are most people doing that when they come in? Are they pretty educated?
I think so.
Okay.
I think today that the buyer is far more educated than they were when I was helping people buy cars.
Okay.
And I quit selling, if you will, back in 2003, 2004. Today's consumer is far more educated. The internet's out there. There's lots of information out there available to them, including invoice prices and all these wonderful things that they can walk in pretty well armed.
Right. Speaking of invoice prices, we hear a lot about that. And what is it, I'm not going to say it right. MSRP and all that.
All these wonderful terminologies
all these,
that scare us away.
Yes,
right?
yes. Well, we've become a language into its own, really, in the car business. And certainly the salespeople and the sales manager understand it all and so forth. But we as a customer, what kinds of things should we be armed with in terms of knowledge?
Well, again, I think a lot of people do an enormous amount of research before they even walk into a store. Yeah. I think that in today's world, because of the information that's out there, it would behoove a dealer, a new car dealer particularly, to understand that these people are well armed. They've done their research. They pretty much know what they want before they walk in, down to options and features and colors, and they're really looking for a particular automobile. And because of that, because they have all that information available to them, I think it would behoove the dealer to understand that the only responsibility they have now at this point is to simply make the acquisition comfortable. The back and forth thing doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
They already know what you paid for the car.
Yeah. So face facts and deal with the reality
Exactly
today.
Right. Make it as comfortable as you possibly can for the client.
Okay. So I've done my research online. I kind of know that I want the XYZ car. I want a new car. For whatever reasons, I've decided it has the right mileage and so forth. One of the things that you have mentioned is calling around to the dealers first.
Sure.
Why that?
I think, in my opinion, if I were going to look for an automobile, the first thing I want to do is I want to talk to somebody who's working at the dealership.
Okay.
I preferably to a salesperson.
Okay.
Maybe even a sales manager.
Okay.
And again, there are so many facets, so there are so many things that we could discuss in this very, very short time as to, how long has this salesperson been there, or...
And we're going to get to that in all the programs that you're doing.
All that stuff. There's all that stuff available out there. I want to talk to somebody, if I were looking for an automobile, I want to talk to somebody who knows something about the car.
Okay.
I want to talk to somebody preferably on the phone initially who I'm comfortable with.
If you're not comfortable with the first person, what do you do?
Generally, I'm going to call somebody else.
Okay.
I'll call another store.
Okay.
I want to feel welcomed on the phone.
Right.
And if I can't get that warm, cuddly feeling, then...
And maybe not sold on the phone as well. Have a discussion, a conversation.
Absolutely.
Right.
As a consumer, perhaps the best thing you could do is not talk about price.
Okay.
Initially.
Okay.
And as simple as this, I mean, if you're asking simply what's your bottom line, what's your best price, what can I buy the car for, my goodness, you're going to be told an awful lot of things over the phone just to get you in the store.
Sure.
Right. So price may be not the first thing you want to talk about. I want to find out, is it a family-owned store? Okay. To me, that's important. Is it a local?
Why is it important?
I don't think that, we've got all these.
Inherently, I think we all want to do that.
Yeah, I think
at
so
a
too.
locally owned, family-owned store, right?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult at best for these large corporations, whether it be, I don't need to name them, you all know who they are. It's difficult for them to get, in my opinion, a pulse on what's happening at the dealership when they're trying to manage the store from thousands of miles away.
Yes. And they're looking at numbers.
And they're looking only at numbers.
Right.
They're not looking at the people that work at the store. They're not looking at how hard they're putting, or how many hours they're putting in. And let me tell you, if you're selling cars, if you're helping people buy cars, which I prefer, right, you're going to spend an inordinate amount of time at that dealership trying to make a living.
Yeah.
And I think it's important.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about what other kinds of things that we as consumers ought to be thinking about when we go to buy a car. We'll be right back with the Car Guy right after this.
Custom lighting in the kitchen.
I'm into it.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
Welcome to a new kind of talk show, Spokane Talks, where you find news, views, and conversations that include respect for opinions, facts, and diversity.
Spokane Talks, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Fox 28.
Well, welcome back. Klaus, I've got a question for you. I'm going to read it, okay, because some of us are old and forget. What's the smartest thing a new car dealer can do today, really to make the process comfortable and really as simple as possible? That's key.
It's a great question. It really is a great question. I think people, again, are really, really uncomfortable when they walk into a dealership because of what they've experienced in the past.
Yeah, and we've all experienced it.
And we've all experienced it.
Right.
We've all walked onto the lot and had 9 people running at us.
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to sell you a car today? And what were you looking for?
And what's our
today?
response?
And
Just
looking, because we weren't, whoa, right?
Yeah. Isn't that the truth, though?
Yeah,
I mean, you really
really
do
is.
get ganged up on.
And
What should be the key to a salesperson who comes out and starts to do that? What should be the response? You've sold cars.
Sure.
You sell cars. Should they be, okay, call me if...
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
You want to acknowledge the client.
Right.
And yet at the same time, you don't want to bombard them and really rush up to them. What can I do for you today?
Right.
But there's also this competitive environment at the dealership itself.
Because if you don't do something,
then another salesperson is going to.
6 others will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a double-edged sword there. There really is a double-edged sword. There's a catch-22, if you will. If I don't run out there and try to grab this client, then somebody else is going to run out there.
Yeah.
So there's this competitiveness that happens within the dealership that I don't know how healthy it is, to be quite candid, but the customer needs to be acknowledged.
Yes.
One of the things I used to do quite candidly is I would walk out with a pad and a paper.
Okay.
And I would walk past the client to a car that they happen to be standing by. And I would jot down notes on MSRP and then I'd simply look at the people and say, have you been helped today?
Okay.
I think you have to be a little bit adaptive as a salesperson.
But it's not like you attack them.
No, you don't want to be. Yeah. People hate that. People hate being sold. What they want to be is they want to be helped.
Yes.
And if you can help a client rather than sell a client,
right,
I think you're far better off.
Today we talked about this a little bit before, that the buyer is much better informed because of the internet primarily and some experience and so forth. What should be the position? What should the salesperson be aware of, and how do they should they deal with that?
Good question. Great question. I think it's really, really imperative that a salesperson and not only have product knowledge,
Okay.
but that's going to be
Of their product,
of
but-
their product, and also your competitors'
Yeah,
products.
okay.
Your customer is
Has already
most
checked
likely
that out.
better versed
Yeah.
in what you're selling and what your competitor has to offer
Right.
than you may be. And if you can't answer the right questions, it's going to make it tough for you to get this customer. It really comes down to this. If a customer likes you and trusts you and believes in you,
Yeah.
they may buy from you.
Yeah.
They might. But if
they
one of those
don't,
three,
You're out of it.
you're done.
Completely.
Yeah, you're absolutely done. And again, the biggest thing that I could actually help in relationship to if you are a salesperson helping people buy cars, and I prefer to use that terminology,
Mm-hmm.
helping people buy cars. It's imperative that you are adaptable to everyone you're speaking with.
Yes.
You have to be, have fun with it. Number one, if you're a consumer, and if you're not having a good time buying this $40,000,
You're on to the-
$70,000 car, my
Yeah.
goodness, you're in the wrong
We
place.
used to buy houses for less than that. Yes.
It should be fun. It should never be a battle. And I think that, again, the biggest thing that a dealership could do today is to make it as comfortable as they possibly can. These people have done their research. They've done this before.
Yeah.
They've bought cars before. It's not their first rodeo. Don't treat them as such.
Right.
These people aren't stupid.
Now, one of the things that you've told me, and I know you will cover this a lot more later on, is there's the psychology of getting the customer to have a test drive.
Sure.
Why is that important?
Oh, gosh.
And there are some
When
places.
there's two sides to that. When
Yeah.
it comes to the dealership, they want you to test drive the car to get you excited. This is the car you want, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I don't necessarily see that there's a problem with that. However, there's also sales managers that won't work a deal unless you've driven the car.
Really?
They'll ask the salesperson, did you take him for a test drive? No. Well, they're not going to do anything until you've driven the car. And that's kind of old school.
Yes,
And
because
and
I may
get
have
it.
driven the same basic car 4 other places.
I may have driven it down the street half an hour ago.
Yeah.
Right? I don't necessarily have to test drive the car. As a consumer, though, it might be a good idea to get in the car and drive it just to make absolutely certain this is what you want.
Okay. Okay.
There's 3 things to buying a car, and I'll make it just as simple as I possibly can.
Okay.
From my perspective of what a consumer needs to worry about. 3 things. 3 things only.
Okay.
Do I love the car?
Okay. Yes.
Every day you walk in the garage, the first thing out of your mouth should be, oh, cool, not, oh, God.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So that's the first part.
Yeah.
The second part of the equation is how much money am I going to put out of my pocket comfortably?
Yes.
Not affordably, but comfortably to get this car.
Okay.
And the third thing, of course, is what am I going to write a check for every month? Comfortably, not affordably.
Explain the difference between affordable and comfortably.
Easily. Number one, if you're a salesperson and you start talking about affordability, you might be offending your client.
Okay.
They might be able to buy the store.
Yes.
So I wouldn't use the word affordable. Can you afford this?
Yes.
Is woo.
Okay.
Right?
I
For
could-
me, that's going to go.
I could afford a whole fleet of
Exactly
them,
right.
right?
Exactly right.
Okay. Okay.
But the difference between a comfortability and affordability is I can afford a $1,200 car payment.
Yeah.
But it sure would be uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So do I love the car? How much money am I putting out of my pocket initially? And what am I writing a check for every month? If those 3 things fit, you have found the perfect car.
Yeah.
If one of them doesn't, you're looking at the wrong car.
Wow.
It's that simple. And I think we
Try to make it
overcomplicate
complicated.
We
Yeah.
overcomplicate
Yeah.
it. Absolutely. The dealers overcomplicate it. We as consumers overcomplicate it. And it's really quite simple. The math is really easy. If you're going to finance an automobile over 5 years, your payment is going to be approximately $20 per thousand.
Okay. Right.
That's the math.
Right.
So if you're financing $20,000, your payment is going to be approximately $400 a month.
Right.
If you're financing $30,000, your payment is going to approximately be $600 a month. It is that simple. So when you walk into a store and you're looking at an $80,000 car, you're not going to get to that $300 car payment.
No.
Unless you got a lot of cash to put down.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. might as well buy the whole thing
Exactly
at that
right.
point. Right.
So
yeah.
the math is, again, $20 per thousand is about right, unless you've had some credit issues in the past, and then, of course, then things change. But for the most part, $20 per thousand is the number.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's going to come up in some of the future shows.
Sure.
And when you talk about buying a car, there's also leasing a car. You'll be covering that too.
Big fan of leasing.
Are you?
Big fan of leasing.
Okay.
When it comes to new cars, there's not the worst single worst acquisition we can make in relationship to value retention is an automobile.
Okay.
They are the worst depreciating asset on the planet.
Okay.
Do I necessarily want to own a $70,000 car 5 years from now?
Right.
You know, and I think also people should worry about long-term operating expense, which is again something we can cover in later shows.
Right.
You know, should I lease? Should I buy?
Right.
Leasing is not for everyone.
Okay.
Buying is not necessarily for everyone. A good salesperson, a smart salesperson, will understand the difference and be able to help you make an intelligent buying decision.
Yeah, and then you'll talk about going into that back room, the money room.
The box.
The box.
The box.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I mean, we all kind of fear that. We all know it's going to happen.
We're going to go see the finance manager.
Yeah, you got to see the sales manager, then you got to go see the finance manager so they can get some more money out of you.
Now we're
right?
going to do the contract. Now we're going to do the contract. We're going to talk about this and this and this and this and this and folks.
Everybody out there is going, been there.
You know, you need the tire warranty. You need this. You need that. You need an extended warranty. In some instances, this stuff can be good.
Yeah.
You know, if you're planning on keeping a car a real long time, then my goodness, listen.
But if you're leasing it for 2 or 3 years, probably not.
I'm going to hand you the keys back and get another car in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I really don't need to buy any of this additional stuff. And you know, it's tough for the dealers nowadays. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
They're living on incredibly short margins.
Yes.
You know, everybody knows what you paid for a car, but everybody wants to pay you invoice what you paid for the automobile. Everybody wants a good deal.
Which is essentially trying to say, I don't want you to make money, dealer.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
and it's hard for dealers to make money anymore.
Yeah.
But you know, we have to unfortunately look at the dealer's role in that as well, and the manufacturers.
Okay.
Are they overproducing the automobile? Do they have too many cars to sell?
Yeah.
You know, are they having to put incentives on these cars?
Right.
Can they not sell them for any more than invoice because they've got so many of them out there?
Yeah.
You know, so we have to look at the manufacturers sometimes and say, you know, you're partially to blame here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to this because we're all, especially me, all going to learn an awful lot on your show.
Oh gosh, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
This is going to be fun.
I hope so. And again, I hope it's entertaining, and I hope it's educational, and maybe something out of this will turn a light bulb on and go,
yeah,
you know, I heard that somewhere.
All right. Klaus Kindor, the car guy.
The car guy.
Yeah. So you're going to be back here in a couple weeks to start with the regular programming, right?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, good to have you on board at
Thanks,
Spokane
Kent.
Talks. All right.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching. Watch for the car guy coming soon.
Thanks for watching. The Car Guy is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Ask Klaus a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.